Welcome to the Big Cat Lounge podcast, where we interview guests in a casual lounge setting from all over the world, sharing their insights one story at a time. We can be found on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, iHeartRadio, and much more. Please rate and subscribe to our show to stay updated on the Big Cat Lounge. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the Big Cat Lounge podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Big Cat KZ, and today's guest comes from Wisconsin. She's the CEO at G&L Wellness, co-founder of Hemp Sisters Nation, and the co-host of the Hempy Hour podcast. She formulated the world's first water-based CBD eye drops, See Better Daily, in 2016 for people and pets. She's a contributing author for Seed to Sell, The True Science of Cannabis. After refusing to teach propaganda to her health students, Mama Epps resigned from education and began her entrepreneurial journey into cannabis. We welcome Gina Mama Epps to the Big Cat Lounge podcast.
Well, hello. Thank you so much, Kyle. I appreciate it. What a nice introduction.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show. So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you come up with the name Mama Epps?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. And it was 100% my students. So we'll go back to 2013. I was teaching, and I had already been teaching for about 15 years, health, physical education. I was coaching basketball, and I was doing that outside of Chicago. That's where I had lived most of my life. And I got into just the tip of my second trimester. You know, I was pregnant and my students didn't know yet. So, and I was 39. So, you know, it's all they ever talked about because I had already been married for almost 2 years. And so I finally tell my classes and they just lose their minds. I mean, they're more excited than I am about this presidency. Like it was really cool. So at that point, they coined the Mama Epps. They went from calling me Mrs. Epps to Mama Epps, and I just love it. So I've been using it ever since. So we're going on, over 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's really neat just to have a community and your students were just referring to you as Mama Epps. So I'm sure it is very, very meaningful. It's different than just saying, teacher or Mrs. So yeah, it goes along.
Yeah, it touched my heart, right? Yeah, exactly like you said, it meant something. It was nice.
And so for the Hemp Sisters Nations community, how long did you start this and what came about you bringing this to fruition?
Yeah, and this is a newer venture for my partner Lois and I, and it's something we've talked about. I mean, we've known each other our entire lives. Literally, we're best friends. Our parents were best friends. Our kids are best friends. So this goes way back. But we just had this vision of just bringing people together and teaching and sharing and networking and so that's what we're all about. And hemp and cannabis is probably the most misunderstood plant possibly on the planet. So, and I, like you had said in the intro, I gave up my career for this plant. Like they wanted me to lie about it and I refused. So, I spent the rest of my days and will spend the rest of my days educating on this plant. And that is not about, getting high and using it recreationally. And that's nothing against people that do, but there's just so much more to this plant. So we've always felt like it's our mission to make sure people understand this plant. So that's at the base of the Hemp Sisters Nation, is just education, blogs and the podcast, and just really teaching people about this plant and all that it has to offer.
And I think it's going to be a matter of time before, you see it more in a commercialization or on TV as advertisements, because you see a lot of alcohol, a lot of other major brands, but you never see CBD, you never hear hemp.
Exactly. And I agree completely. And, there's still this stigma and people don't understand. And I'm glad you brought up CBD because, a lot of people don't understand the difference between that and the one cannabinoid that does get you high, and that's the THC. And, people really just don't understand the difference and how much healing's involved. And that's whether there's a psychoactive effect or not. Our bodies were built for this plant. We have an endocannabinoid system that, most doctors don't even know exists because of the propaganda involved against this plant. And so it's going to take a lot of work, but I'm with you. I believe change is coming and we're seeing it little by little, and we're going to continue to grow.
Yeah, we are. And it's just really because I know a lot of maybe the doctors, they maybe were incentivized to promote other drugs, that are more profitable, or they'll get a kickback.
Well said.
So in terms of making sure that they're willing to promote CBD or willing to promote other products, even though there may not be a monetary, result for them. Just it needs to transpire. It needs to take for, people need to start promoting this.
Absolutely. I agree completely. And it takes all of us, like we say on the podcast all the time, once you learn anything, no matter what it is, if it's a post on LinkedIn and you've looked into it and now that's true, tell somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spread the knowledge. And that's our biggest point. Like, please, education is free. Let's utilize that while we can. Our version anyway.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that's like the main thing that's preventing people from getting into the industry or trying something new? It's just a lack of education, because there's enough
100%.
Yeah.
There's the stigma. There's this just nasty stigma still attached. I mean, we're, how many decades past reefer madness, and you'd never know it. And it really was a reality check to me. I spent, maybe the last 10 years or so really building this cannabis hemp network on Facebook. So I have, all these 50,000+ followers on Facebook, but it's a lot of like-minded people. So you're almost preaching to the choir a lot of the time. So I start bringing some of that content slowly over to LinkedIn just this past couple months. I mean, I'm really dipping my toes in, because I don't want to push people away, because I have a nice little following and a nice community and everyone's way cool. And
Yeah.
I don't want to scare anyone off, but I really just want people to understand how much more there is to this plant. So, like I said, kind of dipping my toes in, and people are very receptive, and they want to know more, and they're asking questions and they're sharing content. And it's a really cool feeling.
Yeah. And I think we're making progress here in the US. I know Canada has legalized. Same with Mexico, actually recently just approved a bill to legalize the production and sale of cannabis for adults.
I love it.
It's a matter of time before the US. It's just now, I guess, by state. So just waiting to see as each state decides.
Yeah. And how crazy is that? What other country are there, 50 different laws and different laws in the state, and, state to state's different. And I mean, there's still some states right now, Kyle, that frown upon CBD with all the study and research and everything out on CBD. And it's illegal in Idaho. And, you need a doctor's note to even be able to get it. And you can still only get it from your doctor. Like, I mean, that doesn't even sound real to me. The Farm Bill was 3 years ago, and we're still battling like this.
Wow. Yeah, that is
crazy.
Yeah, it's almost, they're still back in an old mindset. It's almost, it's get with the times. We passed this law. There's good opportunities now. Let's come with the times, and let's accept it for everybody.
Right. Let's allow adults to make adult decisions. I mean, it's just silly.
It is. And just keeping up with the regulations. I know there's constant new changes in the law, and I know I heard UPS is stopping to ship vape supplies recently. Do you know much about that?
Yeah, everyone got letters about that, and USPS might not be too far behind them. So I don't know how that's going to look. There's a lot of people panicking right now over that. I mean, there's people whose entire business is vape carts, their entire livelihood, so I don't know how that's going to look. That'll be interesting to see how that unravels, but everyone's fighting it. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes. But the problem with vape carts is, and I semi see the legality involved, but I'm for freedom, so that's where I get caught up there. But you don't know what's in it. You don't know what's in that vape cart. It doesn't matter what the label says or what the package says. You don't know what the hell anyone's shipping. So, I mean, I think that's part of their beef. But I mean, that comes down to just compliance and, getting better with business practices and making sure cannabis is using regular business practices that the whole rest of the world uses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just having, more scrutiny in the industry, like having more lab tests and being able to use what you're actually, what you're using, what products you're using, just so you know what chemicals are in there. I think it's going to just shift with the brands, because how many tests are you familiar with? A lot of tests being shared with the products that you have?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's biggest thing is the certificate of analysis. And, there's just so many shady practices and no one knows who to trust and who to believe. And you'll test one product 3 different times to get 3 completely different results, but then you'll
Mm,
find out there's margin of error between A and B%. And that's tough. I mean, that's tough because now you're talking about the difference between legal and illegal, so it's, yeah, that's a tough question. That's loaded and there's a lot of work to be done there too.
yeah, there really is. And for yourself, you have many different joint ventures, right? You have the Gummy World. You also have Mist Health Systems. Tell me how you got started with some of those.
Yeah. I mean, we just got lucky a few years ago, through networking and meeting the right people. And we got introduced to Chuck Stebbins, who is the head of the MIST team that you just referred to. And I mean, Chuck is, like the grandfather of sports science. Every formulated every product from the 80s and 90s that had to do with the health or wellness or working out or, anything at GNC. Like he did it all, 25 billion in sales. The largest weight loss product on the planet is him. And so we've really been blessed to be part of him and his team and, all they've brought to our plate. And that's where the joint venture with Gummy World came in. That was through Mist. We're going to be publicly traded, sometime this summer. That's through Mist. And I mean, there's a lot of just really major things happening, and we're super blessed to be a part of it.
Today's sponsor is Anchorfm App. Go download the free Anchor app today to get started. You can find it at your Play Store or App Store. It's everything you need to make a podcast, and it distributes everything for you so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and many more. This is what I'm currently using right now to edit and record my podcast, and you can do so from your phone or computer. And the tools are really easy to use to help document the Big Cat Lounge journey. So what are you waiting for? Go today and download it.
And would you say a lot of this has to do with your connections and you being able to network with various different people? Because it's very difficult to branch out, to have that insight and have those people to put you in a situation like this, to have these partnerships.
Right. No, that's an excellent point. Yeah, that's 100% through networking. And I really think it's not just networking, but how you network and how you present yourself. Like if you're not, and I say this all the time, so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if you're not unapologetically you, people don't know you. So they don't have the chance to decide whether you're someone they want to work with or not. So unless you're just, just you, whatever that means and whatever that brings to the table, and show people that and let them get to know you and be open to almost anything. And then these opportunities just fall from the sky. And it's all about your frame of mind and, having that positive outlook and knowing there are solutions and not just complaining about problems. Like there's just so much to it, but I believe networking is the base of it. And, just being a decent person.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pay it forward. You got to help people. Like when you do well, like I said about education, you learn something, you teach something, you make some money, you give some money. Like I firmly believe that is the yin and yang of the world. And I don't think enough people have that frame of mind. And I think it's crucial.
Yeah, it really is, just to give back and to know that we're in this together. All of us are learning together. So that's, for me, it's just being able to knowledge share. Because if I've already learned something, why not just tell someone else to help them? It's just easier that way, so that if I had a mistake, then someone can learn from my mistake while not having to maybe pay for it or something like that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Perfectly said. Exactly. I mean, we are all in this crazy world together, like it shouldn't be any competition. Let's just help each other, be there for each other, and see what comes out of that.
Mm-hmm. And this brings us to our quote section. If you don't have big dreams and goals, you'll end up working really hard for someone who does.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God, that touches my soul. And you know what? I lived that. I was a teacher. There's no more slave mentality than that. You do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told, or you don't have a job. And I threatened that with exactly what the hell you just said, and here we are. Like, you have to hold your moral compass no matter what. Like you just have to.
Yeah, exactly. And for you, you just we wanted to control your time, and you wanted to make sure you could do whatever you wanted freely. And after a certain time, you're going to be prison holed and put in a structure. And for you
Yes.
to break that free and be an entrepreneur.
Yes, absolutely. And we don't tell people what to do or what to think, or, we're not trying to sway anybody. We want you to think for yourself. We want to give you some information, and then you check into that information, and you delve deeper, and you talk to your doctor, and you talk to your mom and your dad and your kids. And, it's all about just talking and communicating and trying to figure it all out. And we will get there. Like, I firmly believe that.
We will. We truly will. And now I guess I've seen this. I don't know if it's really new, but when I'm driving, I see like Delta 8 signs. And I know that that's something that's interesting because it's not really regulated, or it's in a questionable gray area. I know.
Right.
What do you think about Delta 8?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question there too. Our team has countless SKUs of Delta 8. We're dealing with Delta 8 flour. We got Delta 8 pre-rolls. We got Delta 8 carts, which you just mentioned. So we're in that crew of people trying to figure out what to do. Delta 8 tinctures, Delta 8 is just an extension of THC. It's the Delta 8 instead of Delta 9. So it's, just one strand away from Delta 9, pretty much the same compound. A lot of people might not know that yet. And so it's, like you said, a very gray area. There's absolutely some psychoactive effect there. So, I know that we're very careful with our marketing and, how we talk to people about it. And, we don't recommend driving or do, what I mean? The same thing you would see on a regular THC in Colorado, so we're trying to be very careful, but I think we need to be ready for that to be gone real quick. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people are enjoying the ride, but we'll see how long it lasts.
Exactly. Yeah. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because today Oregon was talking about, potentially banning it. So it's just figuring out,
Oh, and that's an illegal state. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's just, again, keeping up with the laws. Everything keeps changing every day. And this is coming from Ganjapreneur, which is a source that I keep up with. But yeah.
Oh yeah. And they're legit, right? Wow.
Yeah, so it's just, if you are a shop, just keeping up with a lot of the regulations, and to your point, being able to market transparently, because then if it is pulled, you'll have upset consumers, and you just don't know what can happen.
No, exactly. Hey, if you don't mind, after this, can you shoot me that link?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I guess right now, since there has been a big movement with drug decriminalization, I know a lot of the police departments are just they're at a loss because they don't know necessarily how to maximize their revenue. So it's just making sure that people can start to adjust, because I know before they maybe had certain targets that they had to maintain, and now with the decriminalization, they have to focus on other areas.
Sure. Yeah, and that's a really good point too, because everyone talks about legalization, and that's great, but now your $60 eighth is $85 because of an obnoxious state tax and whatever else they've added. So what we are looking for as an industry in the whole is certainly decriminalization. Like you said, like we want to just be able to grow a plant or use a plant or buy a plant or go grocery shopping and get it next to your spinach, whatever that means. Just let this plant be free and stop just trying to monopolize off of it.
Yeah, exactly. And for the payment options right now, are they there's no issues with accepting payments? I know initially there was some concern with even some CBD shops or cannabis related shops.
Oh, it's a complete cluster, Kyle. It's still terrible. It's still terrible. And even us, I'm in the industry now going on 8+ years. We're selling at least down to hemp oil products. So from hemp oil to CBD to all the other cannabinoids, we've done it all. We still right now do not have cannabis credit card processing. We sell non-cannabis products. We sell terpene-based products. We sell natural toothpaste that, they do nothing but mess with this industry. Once they approve you, then you're not approved, and then one minute you have PayPal, then they're holding your money, and you can't keep up. It's insane, and it has not gotten any better.
Wow. But one positive thing though is I think the pandemic did accelerate the timeline for marijuana reform. That's one thing.
I hope so.
I think it did. Just with people realizing the acceptance and just really the importance for medicinal purposes. I think now more so than ever. I mean, just to be able to get a doctor's appointment during a pandemic is very challenging. So
No, it's a good point.
I'm sure it would have been easier for some patients to have had easy access. So yeah.
Yeah, and I believe this was the highest profit year for cannabis, even through the pandemic. So that speaks volumes as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, is there anything else you want to tell the Big Cat Lounge community?
I mean, just that to please reach out anytime if if there's any questions or concerns or comments or, hempsistersnation.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Like, please, like we are here to help. So no matter, no matter what that means, I don't care if you have a question about anything that has to do with this plant. Like, I don't care what it is. If you want to know if another company's legit, if the product you bought is okay. I mean, whatever it is, please, we are here. We are here to make this industry better.
Yes, and you post consistently every day, if not multiple times. And I know you posted several times just explaining, how hemp has been used as one of the first plants like over 50,000 years ago. So you really
Yes.
thorough with just giving back and providing resources. So if we wanted to continue to follow your journey, where should we look? What are some of your social media links?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. It's at Mama Epps. We're Hemp Sisters on Facebook. We're at Hemp Sisters on Instagram, Hemp Sisters on Twitter. Clubhouses at Mama Epps, and any random information you just find at our website, which is hempsistersnation.com. Thanks so much, Kyle.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the Big Cat Lounge podcast, and we learned so much.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure. I appreciate it. And, please let me know if I can ever do anything for you as well.
We are accepting applications if you think you have what it takes to be a big cat and be a guest on the show. Email us at bigcatlounge@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to the Big Cat Lounge podcast. Hope to see you soon.